Hey everybody, it's Hannah and Keith back with another video. Keith did so great in his last one, he even got an award. So with this one, our last video, we went over more details of the specialized dispatch board. So I wanted to bring Keith back and have him kind of go over the details of our other opportunities and kind of go into detail a little bit more about our different dispatch boards, because we've had quite a few questions about those. So just wanted to bring him in to go over some details with you guys.
All right, thanks. Yeah, so when we say boards, just for those that aren't in the industry or haven't been in the industry before, a board is basically a group of drivers. So we have several different groups of drivers. The boards get, boards or groups get categorized by, could be categorized by the type of loads that's on that particular board. It could be customer specific. We have a couple customers that are so large, they require, one has like 50 drivers on it. So we just have that specific customer board. We have, we take into consideration, some boards have different travel areas, and some boards just have a different way of getting dispatched. So we have, we've always been a years of service company. From day one, we recognize drivers' years of service, and we always want to remain true to that. And so although we've had some new type boards, we still honor those years of service boards as well, and give a person a choice, a chance to pick those type of boards. One of the boards is specialized dispatch board, like you said. I think you said that we were fortunate enough now through the last video to have fulfilled our requirement on that particular board. So that was great. And but that specialized board was a board for a specific customer, and we haul forklifts for them. With that particular board, there's I'm just going to name off some differences so you can kind of get a feel for the differences and why we have different kind of boards. That particular board has some labor involved in it, so the person has to unstrap the forklifts and roll the straps up, put them in a box, put them underneath the trailer, that kind of thing. You have to be willing to run anywhere in the country. That includes New York City. The benefit to that board is our highest paying board. It pays $2,000 a week minimum. Again, it's currently full. Drivers get home weekly on that, but those are some of the details for the specialized dispatch board. On the dedicated side, that's the bigger part of our fleet is dedicated, and those are more route specific. So they are route specific. So you might get a chance to bid on a lane from Batesville to Dallas and back, Batesville to Laredo and back, round trip every week. That's what you do every week, back and forth, back and forth. It might be Batesville to Toledo, Ohio, and you do that every day, once a day, every day. So it's the same drag. A lot of people like the same thing. They know what they're doing. Benefit of that board, that's the huge benefit of that board. You know when you're going to be home, you know when you're going to be on the road, you know what your pay is going to be, the whole 9 yards. So that one, the pay is by percentage, so it is what it is. When the bid comes out, you see what your pay is going to be, and you decide, is that enough for me? Do I want a dedicated run? That sort of thing. That's how you make your decision on the dedicated board. The bids come out when we get new business, or when a driver maybe changes boards and a dedicated route comes available. Again, those are awarded by years of service. So when the bid comes out, you write your name on the bid, and then we look at all the bids, and if there's 5 drivers turned in for it, then we take the highest years of service, the driver that's been with us the longest, and that's the driver that gets offered the run. If he turns it down or she turns it down, then it goes to the next driver. So that's how years of service works on the dedicated board. The on-demand board is the one we want to highlight today, right? So the on-demand board is got the benefits to that. It's a $1,700 minimum. So you're back up there into some pretty nice weekly numbers, guaranteed. The types of loads that you're going to see on the on-demand board, or the types of freight are going to be like automotive freight. We haul semi-trailer parts, we haul hospital equipment and parts, general commodities, whatever. It's kind of a mix of all the loads we do, for even the specialized, even the forklifts or anything. You could see a little bit of all of that.
Right.
So the travel area for the on-demand board is still no New York City. It's a very small amount of East Coast. You might see an East Coast load if we need you to cover a dedicated route for a driver that runs dedicated East Coast or something. Those are far and few in between. We probably only have about 2 or 3 dedicated drivers that run into the East Coast. So it would not be very often that you would see that. Primarily, a benefit of the on-demand board is you're going to be seeing Nogales, Arizona, Laredo, Texas, a lot of Texas, and a lot of regional Midwestern routes. So it could even be a dedicated route when a driver's on vacation, has a dedicated route. If they're off for a week or 2, then we'll look to the on-demand board to fulfill that, cover that driver while they're out. So it's just kind of a mix of everything. If you like variety, yet still you're home weekly. Generally, I mean, we only have one route that keeps you out like 11 days, and that's actually 2 routes. They both run to Washington State. They're dedicated. They have dedicated drivers on them. So those rarely come up, but once in a while that could come up. But generally, it's going to be home every week, and even possibly through the week if you're running that dedicated regional route for covering for somebody, or if you're just running some of our Midwest regional type business that we have. So it's very possible if you live within a reasonable amount of travel distance between your house and the terminal here in Batesville. So everybody has a different mindset as far as what's reasonable or not. We have the furthest driver I think we have. He's ran here. I think he's been with us for well over 5 years now, and he's for quite some time. He's driven from Detroit, Michigan. Every week he comes down and runs a route to El Paso, Texas and back. I think he might be on a new route now, but he ran that route for many years, and he drove down here every week.
Oh, wow.
So to that was reasonable to him, a 5-hour drive in and a 5-hour drive back home. But most people were probably talking within a couple hours. But again, it's up to you.
We normally say about 150 miles, right?
Yeah,
Is that?
which is maybe 2.5, 3 hours
Yeah,
or something like
yeah.
that. That's kind of what But that's really that's in our heads.
Yeah.
So like I said, if you're 4 or 5 hours out and it's not a big deal to you, then that's fine too. But as far as manual labor on the on-demand board, there'd be very little. There would be, again, here you would be, most of our trailer parts deliveries are dedicated to drivers, and they're distributing trailer parts to dealerships throughout the U.S. and Canada and Mexico. Of course, we just dropped the trailer at the Mexican border. But those are about the only ones we'd have any driver assist, you would say, with, and that driver assist amounts to getting in the back of the trailer, and most of the places have docks, but there's few that don't have docks still. They're smaller, so we have to drag a chain and hook it on a pallet and for them, and then they pull it out. Or maybe we haul long extrusion, so a semi-trailer, as you know, if you look at the top rail, the bottom rail that holds the wall and the roof together, there's aluminum channel, and that's 52-foot piece. They don't have any brakes in it or anything like that. So we hang those on the wall. We have a special rack system that those go in, and then when we get to the dealer it takes about 4 people to carry them off the trailer. They're not very heavy, they're just flimsy. So we might assist in something like that. But again, that's really if you're just filling in for somebody. So most of the loads on the on-demand board are going to be hit the dock, and it's, no driver assist
Right.
or anything like that. I didn't have anything in my mind, but I did want to make a comment about drop and hook. We do a lot of drop and hook anymore. I don't really have that percentage in my head, but I guess it's at least 50%. Drop and hook. So as far as again home time, home weekly and through the week. Now we are, correct me on this, are we hiring people for the on-demand board that are remotely domiciled, like from another state?
Not at this time, just because with load planners and everything, we haven't worked out.
Okay.
How many days you're out, how many days you're going to be home.
Okay.
I'm not saying that we won't in the future.
Right.
We just aren't right now.
Right. So, you might call if you are, from another state, just to inquire about it. We're known to bend or mold or whatever you might say, depending on the situation and everything. So, I know what we would be looking for there would be at least for somebody to be out for at least 3 weeks. We do that on the specialized dispatch board, but that board has a lot of multiple routes where we're going to be increasing that board to like 70 loads a week. So we have a lot of options to get people home more easily. So that's the part that's holding us up a little bit, maybe on the on-demand board.
With having the majority of the loads being either round trip out of our terminal or somewhere close to Seymour, it's just hard to get people home outside of those areas and be able to guarantee you're going to be home every 14 to 21 days for sure. We don't want to bring somebody in under those pretenses and not know that we can do it for sure. But like I said, it's not out of the question.
Yeah. And our mindset here, my mindset from the beginning has always been, we send a driver out from Batesville, we bring them back. We're not a company that, bebops you around for weeks at a time, just waiting for the better load, and send you to Dallas, and then we're going to let you sit there for hours or days, waiting for the next best load because we don't like the load that's coming back this way because it doesn't pay enough or something like that. We rate our routes going out to accommodate, a fair load coming back, and if we have to bring you back, we bring you back, even if we have to deadhead you empty or whatever. Our mindset is you get out to your final destination, we're going to load you as close as we can to that, and it's going to be booked ahead of time. Doesn't happen 100% of the time, but it's probably close to that. We're booking it in advance because we want to keep you moving, and we want to keep the truck moving, of course, and whatever. So, and get you back here so you have an opportunity to take another load or whatever, so.
Yeah, I know that right now a lot of people are seeing crazy stuff about the spot market, and that gives a lot of uncertainty, and we don't really focus a lot on the spot market here. So,
right. The spot market just for us is for that specialized board where we're hauling forklifts out, and it's for the trailer parts customer that we haul for, because that's one-way deliveries outbound, and then we're looking for a broker load coming back. And even probably over 50% of those already have dedicated customer loads coming back. So we're not, when the market goes up and down, in the news, it doesn't really replicate what we see, in our world, because we have so much dedicated business.
Sure.
So, but again, the pay is also wanted to say that we talk about a $1,700 minimum, but I don't want people to get all hung up or focused in on just the $1,700 or whatever, because we're a percentage-based company. So if you don't have any experience, you come on at 26%. If you have experience, you can make as much as 29%. Which, what is that, 5 years or more?
Yeah, 5 years. You top out at 29.
So if you have 5 years experience, you're gonna come right on top pay or whatever. So, and the other part of that is we pay by percentage, and customer rates have went up for the last 2 years. Just got finished with the final customer, and it happens to be the Nogales, Arizona lane. And we just got finished up and secured the contract for another year for that, for much higher rates than what we had on it.
Awesome.
So the nice thing about us being percentage above the $1,700 minimum is the fact that you can make more than $1,700.
Mhm.
You know, so you know, and it's very achievable if you want to get out there and run.
So why would someone want to run on the on-demand board versus any of our other options?
Right. So I think it's confidence in your weekly income,
Right.
because you know you're going to get $1,700 no matter what. On top of that, the benefit, you're paid by percentage. So if you get out there and run, you're not even going to worry about $1,700 because it's going to be $1,900 or $2,000 or whatever it's going to be. But you have that confidence that it's always going to be $1,700. So you got a lot of companies out there that advertise that high rate per mile or something, and they're like, we're paying 70 cents a mile, 75, 80, 90 cents a mile. You know, you're seeing all kinds of crazy things out there, but that's great. But I've always said, I don't care how you pay, if it's by mileage, by percentage, what it is, it's what you take home at the end of the week that matters.
Yeah.
And the percentage with the rate increases that we take, companies that, I'm not saying this is wrong or bad or anything like that. I'm just saying that, if you're paying by the majority of people pay by the mile, and you never know as a driver, when they give you a pay increase, is that because they got rate increases from customers, or is it just because the market demands it,
Right.
and they need to keep up the pace with the market? We don't have to worry about what the market is, because we focus and keep our customer rates where they need to be, so that keeps driver pay right where it needs to be. It always comes along. So you could see 2 pay increases in a year, if we get, if the rates increase.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge benefit, and it's back to the guarantee of having the $1,700 safeguard, because the other company, like I said, when they're paying by the mile, they might have this high rate per mile, but are you going to get the miles? That's
Exactly.
the question. With us, if you don't get the miles, guess what? You still got $1,700. So on our on-demand board, you're going to see variety in loads, but at the same time, another benefit to that is you're going to see the same loads sometime again, because our on-demand board is not just not going out on the spot market or something like that, or just running random loads. It's still, the only thing we use the spot market for is to get our trucks back in.
Yep.
So we're not running any kind of freight. We're not a brokerage carrier. We don't run just straight, for any broker or anything like that, unless it's a good dedicated haul that matches up for us or something like that. But
they're going to be going to the same places, but just not back to back.
right. So you might get dispatched on a load to Laredo, Texas this week, and next week you might get the same load. But the week after, you might not see another one of those loads. You might be running Florida for the next 2 weeks. You might have to cover an East Coast load or a Wisconsin load for somebody, or any of the other regional routes or something like that. But eventually they'll come back around. And then the nice thing about those routes are they're all routes that we do all the time and we've done for a long time. So we have directions for them all and everything. So you can get those directions through our system and to help out a little bit and get you into the final mile or whatever, so to speak, of getting into the particular shipper or receiver. Okay, another benefit is, again, just a reminder, some of these things, no New York City. Not going to see any New York City loads on these. Little, if any, East Coast, just to cover for that driver maybe when he's on vacation. And then basically, we're going to be running mainly in the Midwest and, like I said, Arizona, Texas, Florida areas. We get a little bit of Minnesota in there, stuff like that. But it's mainly here in this Midwest region and regional routes and the longer Texas. We do a lot of Texas, probably about 30 loads a week or something in and out of there. And then still decent home time. It's kind of like kind of taking an over-the-road truck driver's job, but we're still getting you home every week. And so those that are out there right now for 3 weeks at a time or more, 2 weeks at a time or more, would think this would be pretty appealing, with $1,700 minimum with option to make more than that and the home time.
I like to think of it as the OTR paycheck with regional home time.
So yeah, and the last board we have is it just kind of goes along with this board. We do have an open board, years of service as well, and it's the same details, same freight, everything as the on-demand board is, but there's the minimum on it is only $1,200. So that's a years of service, and the reason it's that way, and the reason there's a $500 difference in that is because the on-demand, we're dispatching ahead. We can look ahead. We know when you're going to be in. We don't have to wait for you to pick.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have to wait for you to pick, and you decide, I don't want to go east this week, so I'll pass on that one. I'll just go back to, Alabama or something, and I'll call it good for the week or whatever.
Right.
Well, that's your choice. And so we're willing to still pay a minimum, the $1,200, but we just can't make it that $1,700 because we don't have any control over, keeping things moving.
Mm-hmm.
So
that makes sense.
yeah.
So, any other details you think they need to know?
I think I've bored them long enough right now. So.
Well, if you guys have more questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us in the recruiting department. All of our info can be found on our website. That's crumtrucking.com. And if you're interested and you'd like to get the ball rolling, our application is also there. Generally, once we get those, we reach out to you within the next couple business hours. So, like I said, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.